All right. Okay, we are ready to start. We have Jody West here. She is an outreach manager from Help Me Grow, and she has some really great information to share with us today.
Great. Thank you, Chelsea. You get to listen to it a second time again, too. I'm sorry. Like she mentioned, my name is Jody. I am here with Help Me Grow Utah. And I'm going to talk a lot about the services we provide and how we could potentially work together in supporting families across our great state. So before I share my PowerPoint and get going, I'm actually going to put a link in the chat. If you'll follow this link, it's just a Google form that you can go in and put your contact information so that I can send you the PowerPoint that I'm sharing, as well as a few other forms and links. So you don't have to hurry and take notes on all the things that we provide. Hopefully just listen, and if you have questions, feel free to interrupt, or we'll leave some time at the end for questions and comments as well. So while I'm getting this pulled up, I'm just going to share. I've been with Help Me Grow for about 7 years now, just over 7 years, and just love the model and all the work we're able to do in supporting families across Utah. I've had the opportunity to connect with so many different people across Utah. I actually grew up in Little Cache Valley, from Hyde Park. If anyone's from Cache Valley might recognize that name, but it's not quite so little as it used to be. It's always hard going back and see how much it grew or has grown. But I grew up there. Both my parents were in education. My mom was a librarian and my dad was a speech therapist at the school district. So a lot of experience in working in schools, and my experience from my parents and going in with them. And then when I started Help Me Grow, we actually moved to St. George. And I covered a big region down there, and working with families everywhere from Washington to Kane to Sevier and Millard counties and everywhere in between. So I love all the communities. I think they're also great, and there's so many great resources out there and supports for families, and it's just a matter of getting everyone connected. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Chelsea, again, sorry, will you just give me a thumbs up if you can see that okay? Perfect. I always just like to double check. So I'm just going to delve into Help Me Grow. Again, if you want to sign on to that link, you can. I think I forgot to mention again that there is a part at the bottom if you're interested in receiving. We do send out a monthly newsletter with information and resources and tips on early childhood. You're welcome to sign up for that if you're interested in receiving those. I also just like to pinpoint and mention that we are a program of United Way. We are partnered and supported by them across the state. And couldn't do our work without them. So you may notice United Way is a big part of what we do as I talk about Help Me Grow. So I'm just going to give a general overview and delve just a little bit deeper into the services that we provide. So at Help Me Grow, we are a universal information and referral network. So we're here to help provide families and community and connection to resources at no cost. And when we say universal, that means we're here to support everyone. We don't look at income or any other kind of risk factors to determine whether they can come to us. Really, the only two qualifying things is they either have to be pregnant or have children birth through the age of 8. Is really the only thing that we look at as far as qualifying for Help Me Grow. Our services are available also in English and Spanish, but we also, because we're part of United Way, have access to a translation line of up to about 270 different languages. So we're able to communicate with quite a few families across the state. So again, I'm just going to delve into a little bit more about the services we provide. And there's 4 main areas of services that we have. And this is our first one, is our parent support specialists and the work they do. They are the ones actually working directly with families. Everything that we do in supporting families is done virtually. So we do often get compared, or for like, what's the word I'm trying to think of? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Confused with home visiting programs. So we don't actually go into the home and work with families. Everything we do is support virtual and connection to resources virtually. So we do that through phone call, through text, through email, and through mail, in connecting with families and getting them connected to information and resources. And as I talk about each of them, one of these, I do have some parent quotes that fully shows the story of what parents experience, as well as some data. And this parent said, "They seem to generally care about my child and our family. They have contacted us several times to offer support and check if we need any additional resources." Another parent said, "The workers are amazing and I love that they will call or email to check on how things are going at home. I receive lots of different activities I can do to help children learn and grow." So really, our parent support specialists are here to help support in any way they can for parents. And that may look different from one parent to the next because we don't have any guidelines on this. It's really what does the parent need the most, and we'll help in that area. So just to give you an idea, this is just some of our data from last year on how many families we did connect with. We worked with 2,890 families with just over 4,400 children. Most of those families that come to us do choose to enroll with Help Me Grow, or they choose just a one-time interaction. So maybe they're just calling and have a question about a community resources, we get them connected, and that's all they need. So we're here to help connect in any way that they can benefit from. Most families do hear about us because of partnerships we have with other community organizations. So we do partner a lot with other organizations and get referrals from other organizations, as well as healthcare providers. And we do hope that our community outreach can go up over the next year as hopefully the pandemic starts to slow down and we can get out and there's community events more. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to do as much of that the last couple of years. We also get a lot of parents that are willing to share word of mouth to friends and family. And media helps with that as well, and a few other things. Most families that come to us through other organizations is a direct referral, or they give a flyer of Help Me Grow and say, hey, call them. And so sometimes families will call us based off of just given our information. The second component of what we do is a lot of community-based referrals. So again, because of our partnership with United Way, we have access to their 211 database, as well as adding some of our own resources to that as well. That all we have to do is put in key points of what kind of resource we're trying to find for this family, their zip code, and we're able to find what kind of resources are available in their local communities and what would really help them. So a couple experiences families had with this and working with us, this parent said, I was so grateful to find Help Me Grow Utah when I was worried about my son's speech. They sent me a questionnaire and got me in touch with the early intervention program and get the help he needed. He's now in the school district preschool and getting speech therapy there and has come a long way even since just the beginning of the school year. I really feel like this just shows what early childhood is like for so many parents. They have to navigate from one program to the next because they maybe age out of one and need to get into the next, or maybe one's not working for them and so we need to talk to them about a different one. Really just wrapping around and helping support the family in early childhood. I'm actually experiencing this with my sister right now. She's actually moving from Florida to Utah, and her daughter is on IEP in the preschool out there and getting so many services. So I'm trying to help her navigate that. And she's like, I don't even know how I would do this without you. Like, where do people go? I'm like, they don't know always how to navigate services. And so that's what we want to be, is to help navigate those services and get families connected. This mom said, thank you for your service. When we were concerned about our daughter's hearing, you guys helped us get an appointment to have her hearing tested. It came back that she had fluid behind her ear and had surgery the next day. Correct that. Thank you again for that. So a lot of times it's just general conversations we have with parents of like concerns that they have. And have you thought of this? Have you talked to your doctor about that? Do we need to get a referral here? Things like that are conversations that happen on a very regular basis. So the third component, in addition to community resources, we also do a lot of informational resources. So a lot of times parents just have general questions and need tips and ideas of things to do in their home to do with their child. This can be information, like I said, we help support through pregnancy. They have developmental activity ideas that we need to send them, parenting tips, and then we get all kinds of questions, probably similar to what questions you might get on sleeping, eating, potty training, new sibling coming into the home, a lot of anxiety and discipline questions, things like that we answer on a very regular basis, of informational things that we can pull from our database to give to the parent to try in home with their children. So as parents said, this program is the perfect companion to parenting when you have those questions of what to do when this stage hits or what's best for this. They're there every step to help and connect you with helpful resources that will benefit your family. They track growth and development to help the parent know if they're on track or in need of assistance at any time. They truly help the child by providing knowledge and education for the parent. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to participate in the program. And really, we're just here to empower families and give them additional help and support. So just to give you an idea, last year in 2021, we gave just over 5,800 referrals to information and community resources. And if you think about how many families we actually worked with, this is a lot of information and referrals to community resources. So families definitely do, as their children grow, they need different ideas and tips in the home or connections to those community resources. And that's what we love to do, is help get them those connections that they need. So you can see right here the top reasons that we offer informational resources to families in the last year, as well as what are some of the top reasons we gave referrals to community resources. I do like to point out, and you'll notice later why, that our maternal mental health resources have really jumped in the last 2 years. Women that are pregnant or have had a baby within the last year, their mental health has not been where it may have been if it wasn't during a pandemic. So we've definitely worked with a lot more pregnant women and those that have postpartum concerns. We get a lot of general development questions of what kind of things can I do in the home, or connections to behavior resources or autism resources. These are all things that families may not know how to navigate, that if we have a general conversation with them, then we can help guide them and help them know where to go. So I'm going to pause for just a few minutes on talking about Help Me Grow, and I want to do an activity with you. We're going to take about 5 minutes for you to think about community resources in your area. So I have this grid put together with some of the areas that you may think of, what kind of resources or questions that you get on a regular basis of what resources do I need to refer to. So I'm going to put a timer for about 5 minutes, play some music, and I want you to think through these areas or others about what resources are common in your area that you refer to. And then for about 5 minutes after, we'll just have a discussion of what are some great resources in some of these areas that you can connect to, or what questions do you have in some of these areas, and you'll have the opportunity to either unmute yourself or put it in the chat. But I'm just going to pause, like I said, for about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn on some music, and I just want you to take about 5 minutes to think of these areas and some resources that you're aware of. Great. So that was about 5 minutes. Sorry, I should have reminded you, Chelsea, to turn it back on. I was totally going to. So I want to open it up for a few minutes to anyone that's comfortable. Feel free to unmute yourself and share resources you thought in any of these areas, or in any others that you refer to regularly, to share resources with others. Or if you're not comfortable unmuting yourself, you're welcome to put it in the chat as well. So I'll give you a few minutes to put in chat if you're interested, or unmute yourself would be great.
Okay, so I'm up in Cache Valley, and we have two that I could think of. Well, I guess three, like the Family Place, which does a lot of services that way. The Child and Family Support Center and Bear River Mental Health would help some of those emotionals. But that's kind of why I was coming here, hoping I can come up with more supports for families. So hopefully more people will share.
Yes, definitely. Family support centers are across the state. There's 11 different ones and 17 different sites, if I'm remembering correctly, unless new ones have been added. And so if you're not familiar with your local family support center, that's a great one to connect with and learn more about their services. And Kelly, I'm going to mention too, if there's resources that you want to have a discussion about, I'm always happy to have those conversations with anyone, of like regular things that you get asked about and want to know about other resources. So we're happy to have those conversations that Help Me Grow. Is there anyone else that is willing to share or wants to put in the chat? And maybe while we're waiting to see if anyone wants to put any in the chat, I'll mention a few as well. One that got brought up that's great in the first session that I presented at is the Utah Parent Center. And if you're working with any children or families with disability, they are a great resource. Some school districts do have a liaison within the school district that can help support, but not all. And I know on their website, they list what school districts do. So you're welcome to go to the Utah Parent Center's website. And they, like I said, they're a great support for those with disabilities, helping them transition through different times of life, helping them get connected to resources. They have peer-to-peer support groups in many counties that have been set up, where families can go and be amongst other parents in similar situations, and make friends that way, which can be extremely helpful, and things like that. So that one was brought up. Some others that I mentioned in my first session too that I think are fantastic if you're not aware of. One of the apps that is free here in Utah through another nonprofit is called Vroom. It's VROOM. This is a great, really simple app that gets notifications to parents about a few times a week of simple things they can do within the day to help with brain building with their child. This one is only through the age of 5. So it's birth through 5, and they just get little notifications of, hey, while you're changing a diaper, have this conversation with your baby, or make eye contact while you're doing this, or when you're trying to get out of the door, talk them through why we have to put on shoes and socks, or simple things like that they get reminders of based on how old their child is really great to help with child development, and really building their brain is what they focus on. Another one that I like to mention with like parenting support and relationship support is Healthy Relationships Utah. It is through USU Extension, and they are a fantastic resource if you have families that really could benefit from parenting classes and support. Family support centers often offer parenting classes as well, so be aware of that. There also is a great resource here in Utah. It used to be called Defend Innocence, is now called Sapria. They just changed this week, so I have to say the old name just in case that's what you know it under. But they are now called Sapria, and I will send all of these in the follow-up email that I send. But they are how to have conversations with children at what ages on sexual abuse, and kind of to start that conversation from a very young age, so that it's an open communication between parent and child, or adult and child, of really preventing child abuse and helping the child understand what's appropriate and what's not based on their age. Another one I really like to mention on kinship support. So it's not uncommon for kids to be living with grandparents or aunt and uncle or sibling. There is a great program through Children's Service Society called Grand Families, and they are a support to help families in those exact situations that they're being cared for by someone other than their parent. Usually it's their focus is someone other, not necessarily foster care, so it's like in a different person's home, but usually someone within the family that the child is staying with. So say you have a child that's in your classroom that's actually staying with grandparents. Sometimes those grandparents don't know how to navigate a lot of things, and so Grand Families is an excellent resource. In some parts of the state, they do have also in-person activities that they do monthly to bring all those families together to help support them, and do peer classes as well. But yeah, there is just so many great resources out there. Everyone, I shouldn't say just Kelly, it is very hard to navigate. And it's hard to know all that's available. And I could sit here and talk hours about all the great resources that are out there. But it's not always possible to do that. We're talking to people all across the state, and it's going to vary a bit as far as like what's available there. So just knowing that there's a place that you can go to, hopefully through us at Help Me Grow, to become aware of resources in your area. Hopefully we can be a support with that and getting families connected to resources, or you talking to us about what resources are available in your community. So I hope that was a helpful activity for you to really just kind of start to think about what resources there are out there. It's really important just to help, you be aware of them, is to help families become aware of them, because there's so many great ones out there that really could be utilized more than they are right now. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, but I'm just going to move on to talk just a little bit more about Help Me Grow in the time that we have. So really, this is the last component of the services that we serve or provide, and it's pretty much what our only direct services that we offer to families. Everything else is really just the information and connection. But we do offer 4 different screenings for families to complete in home. Again, since everything that we do is virtual, we send these to parents to complete through text, through email, and through mail to complete in home. So you can see just over 3,500 screenings were done through Help Me Grow. I want to mention too that we recently just got funding to be able to offer trainings to get other organizations to complete screenings as well. We recognize that we may not have a relationship, and there's no way we can do screenings with all children across the state, but we are going to and will continue to offer trainings to others to try to get more screenings done with children to help us detect delays sooner. So screenings are done through us. They're also done through other home visiting programs, through doctor's offices, things like that. We're trying to get more out there so that hopefully delays and things are caught much earlier than when they come to school is ultimately our goal with that. So the first screening that we offer is known as the Edinburgh. This is a perinatal screening that works to check on women's emotional health during pregnancy and then up to about a year after. The screening is really just designed for women to complete to check on their emotional health. I think I mentioned earlier when we were talking about connections to community resources, this has definitely gone up quite a bit more over the last few years in concern. Because of the pandemic, women may not have had the support that they might have had before. I'm not saying that there wasn't concern before, there definitely was. This has been a conversation in Utah for quite a few years lately, and more resources are being added to help women in situations that there is a concern. So we definitely do want to get them connected. And I feel like this quote really is probably our most powerful one in talking about Help Me Grow and why screenings is important. This mom said, the Edinburgh screening helped save my life after my daughter was born. I had postpartum depression, and after filling out the survey, I was called and given the help I needed so I could be with my baby today. I also love being able to see how my daughter is progressing in her development, and it makes me so happy to know she is growing. Who knows what could have potentially happened with this mom if she didn't know about us and getting a screening done. There are some doctor's offices that offer it or do different screenings other than this one, but not all. So if you have a friend, you have a coworker, you have a neighbor, anyone you know that is pregnant or have had a baby within the last year, don't be afraid to ask them how they're doing. Ask them if they have the support that they need. It's something honestly that I definitely sidetracked and didn't bring up before, but since it's something that we've started offering within the last few years, I've asked people that I've never thought to ask before. And I actually, my next door neighbor was struggling with severe depression after having her baby. So she and I have had multiple conversations of what was going on. And she was, for the first 6 months, was just really struggling. Her medication wasn't helping. Her therapy wasn't necessarily helping. She thought there was just seriously something wrong with her. And we kind of talked about medication, and she switched and almost immediately had a difference. So really just check in with all your friends and make sure they're doing okay. Again, this just kind of shows the screenings that were done through us. More and more are in that monitoring and concern area that we want to get them connected to supports that they need to make sure they're doing okay. And then this just kind of shows, because people are like, well, what do you actually talk to moms about? This just kind of shows some of the things that we may talk to them about during pregnancy and then after. What kind of supports are out there to help during that time? What screenings do we offer during those times? Things like that. So the second two screenings that we offer are known as the Ages and Stages questionnaires. And these are just tools for parents to utilize to look at overall development and social emotional development. Keep in mind as I'm talking about these screenings that the results from them, most children are going to be on track and doing great. That's usually what we expect. That's what we see across the state, not just in our screening results, but also other organizations as we look at results across the state. Some children are going to benefit from practice in certain areas, so maybe they need to start doing more fine motor activities. Maybe they don't have books with pages to turn, so we need to get them books. Maybe they need crayons in the home so that they can start to write, things like that. Few children are actually going to need a referral to community resources percentage-wise, but we definitely want to find those children and help them get connected to resources if needed. Keep in mind also, as we talk about these screenings, none of them are actually going to diagnose a delay. It just helps us to know if they're at risk. Again, this just kind of shows why we offer screenings and why other organizations offer screenings. We often have kids that are clearly typical or clearly atypical, but screenings just helps us to know those kids that might go undetected and help them through those screenings to get connected. So some benefits of screenings and why we offer them at Help Me Grow. It helps us just to help the parents know what milestones children have reached, help us to know their strengths, as well as if there are any challenges that we need to help them address, or any delays we need to help them be aware of, helps us to know what activities might be important for them to continue to try in home, additional resources that they could benefit from based on the screening, as well as if there is any health or developmental delays. And we have a lot of conversations with parents on kind of that example of that quote at the kind of towards the beginning of the mom had a concern of the child's hearing and speech. And it was a simple conversation of, hey, based on our speech and things that you've mentioned, we have a concern on hearing. Have you had our hearing tested? So everyday questions we have with parents really help guide us, and screenings help add to that to help us to really put to words what potentially could be going on. So the first of the 2 ages and stages questionnaires is the ASQ3. I should mention with all these screenings too, these are not screenings that we put together ourselves. These are research-based screenings that are bought into either through Help Me Grow or through the state, and we share the information there. So the screening is completed by parents. It is for children as early as 1 month and up to about 5.5 years old. The screening is very activity-based. So we do encourage parents to be down on the floor, playing with their child, doing these activities, and going through the areas of communication, gross motor, fine motor, personal, social, and problem solving. And again, it just helps us to know if the child is at risk of a delay or not, and if they need further assessment. So just to give you an idea of what that screening looks like at a few different ages, this is for 1 year old, so 12 months communication. These are written at a 4th to 6th grade reading level. So hopefully most parents can understand what these questions are and what the activities are that they should be doing with the child. And all they have to do is answer, yes, they can complete this activity sometimes, or not yet. So it's simple little activities that children may already be doing or maybe not. The parents are just checking to see if they can complete it. This is a 54-month example. So these might be children in your classroom right now. Starts to ask if they know how to wash their hands. Do they know how to name their favorite playmates at school? Brush their teeth? Do they know their first last name? Do they know their phone number? Can they dress themselves? Things like that that we would hope they would know how to do before going to school. That would be beneficial for them to learn at home before they come to your classroom. So there is 21 different screenings that are offered, again, that they can complete as early as 1 month to 5.5. If the child's on track, we may not encourage them to do every single screening. We don't necessarily need them to. If there is a concern, we may rescreen them more often and talk to them about concerns and get them connected to resources. Again, we don't necessarily feel like every child is going to come to us and need a referral. That's what the screening's for, but it helps us to know if they're at risk. So the second ages and stages questionnaire is known as the social emotional. Again, this is completed by parents. This one actually goes until closer to 6 years old. But the thing that's the biggest difference of this is actually observation based. So parent isn't actually sitting down and doing this training with their child. They're just kind of observing their everyday interactions with them. Are they self-regulating? Do they have good social communication? How are they interacting with others? How are they functioning around others? Things like that are what they're going to ask. And it's different questions, of course, based on the interval that they're completing. So you see, for example, at 6 years old, we want to know if they're sleeping. If they're not sleeping, obviously that could be a big concern that we want to help address. Do they make sounds and gestures? Things like that. If they're not doing these things as young as 6 months, it can be a trigger or a sign to us that we need to talk to them about what kind of things they can do to help make these things happen. At 3 years old, are they active? Are they more active than other children? Do they enjoy activities for at least 5 minutes? Do they enjoy meal times together? Things like that, to, again, can help us to know where a child is at. And it's kind of the same thing that they're just marking. Often they do this, sometimes or never. And the question I really like the most on this screening is right at the end that we ask at every single interval is, what is the thing you enjoy about your child? Especially when you're talking about behavior concerns, it's so important that we look at the positive and the joys that children bring to parents and really talk to them and enjoy those things too. And we love hearing these things from parents. It's so fun to hear they're my best friend, or we love going out and playing, or we have the best time doing this. That's so rewarding to us to hear that from parents, as well remind parents like these are all the positive things that are going on. So the screening is only offered about every 6 months for children. We offer it about once a year. However, if there's concern, we can offer it more often. Again, there's not always a concern, but we want to get them connected if there is. If there is a concern with autism, we'll offer the screening first. And if there is concern based on that screening, the next one that we'll go to is known as the Modified Checklist for Autism in Toddlers, also known as the MCHAT. And this screening is for toddlers only. It is encouraged by the American Academy of Pediatrics to share to 18 and 24 months. So that's when we do offer it. Technically, it only goes to about 30 months old. However, we do have some parents that complete a little bit earlier, or sorry, later in life. With children, I believe about 42 months we've had as the oldest. It may not be quite as accurate, but they can complete it. But this is a little bit more in depth. There's 20 questions, and based on how they score, we do have some follow-up questions we have to ask them, and then get them referred out from there for a diagnosis. Because again, this just helps us to know if they're at risk or need to get connected. So you can see here, most are done at the 18 and 24 month. And some are high risk. There's not really an in-between. We either need to get them connected or we don't. And so we definitely want to help them become aware of resources and get them connected to those if there is a concern for autism, and get a diagnosis if needed, so that they can get the therapies and supports that they can definitely benefit from a younger age. A lot of parents definitely come to us just to do the developmental screening, which is fine. We are happy to do, again, whatever works best for parents and what it is that they need. And maybe they just want to use these screenings as an education tool for them. So we do have quite a few quotes from parents on their experience they have with these screenings. This parent said, "It helped me and my husband be more aware of what milestones are important and what developmental issues or progress to be aware of. Essentially, it gave us an outline of where our daughter needed to be and what deficits to look for, and also ideas on how to help her." This parent said, "As a first-time parent, it's nice to see what specific milestones my child should be hitting at what age." And this one's probably the one I like the most. "I love the developmental questionnaires. They often make me aware of things I didn't think my child would be capable of yet." Before the pandemic, when I was out in the community a lot more and in different settings, we'd actually offer these screenings for parents to complete. And I'd send them away with an iPad and they'd come back with it and they'd be done. And I'd let them know, we'll call and go over results with them, but do you have any general questions right now? And honestly, the thing I got told the most, more often than anything else, is I never even thought to try this with my child yet. So it just is amazing that parents don't know, oh, I really should be giving my 3-year-old a pair of scissors so they can start to get that motion down, or I really need to start stringing these things, or, you know, my child should be the one turning the pages of the book, not just me. And things like that. Just really, this is an education tool for parents to know. This parent said, "I love that you send the ASQ early so that I can fill it out before my child's doctor's appointment and send it for a doctor's visits. We do like to send those screening results to the pediatrician so that if there's a medical concern, they can help address it as well." Just a few reasons for referring. Again, a lot of families want to come to us to do that developmental screening, talk about general development, but then there's just other general concerns of where can I go for help and support in this area, and we can help get them connected. I want to pinpoint here too that if you are working with a family and you're like, I just need to get them connected to a direct resource, I don't know where to send them, you're welcome to call our main Help Me Grow number and talk to one of our parent support specialists yourself and say, hey, this is kind of the situation. This is where I live. Do you have any resources you would suggest on where to get us connected? And they may just say, hey, can I call you back or send you an email after I do some research? But we're here to also help support you and the work that you do. It's not just parents that call us. We get phone calls all the time from other organizations that are looking for resources to help families. If you have a family you do want to refer to Help Me Grow, there's a few different ways that you can do it. Within the follow-up email I send, I'll include our referral form that you can email or fax to us. And in the middle of that, there is a release for information. So if you had questions about, hey, I referred this family to you, I know they're getting services from you, I'm curious where you've referred them, you can call me and I can pull the family up, I can see that release, and I can definitely talk to you about the family situation and where we've sent them. You can also do the exact same thing on our website. There is a referral on there as well. By doing a direct referral, we also do send out a monthly referral report. This is kind of an example blurred out of the family's information of what that looks like. And so anyone that you referred to us, we would send to your school a referral report of like, these are all that you sent to us in this last month. This is whether we are able to get connected with them or not. Families are able to connect with us directly themselves as well. So they can enroll directly on our website. They can complete most of the screenings directly on our website as well. And they are also welcome to call or text us on our main line. Just to kind of show you the progress or the path when the family gets referred to us. So we'll connect with the family. If it's applicable to do any of the screenings with them, we'll encourage them to complete those and get those sent to them. And there is a spot on the referral to mention any concerns that you and the parent have, so that we can possibly address those right off the bat, to kind of be aware of where we need to maybe already get idea of where we may need to refer them. And then we'll just make referrals, and then we'll follow up with them. Did this referral work for you? Was there any barriers in getting connected to this to this organization? Can we help you overcome those barriers? Do we need to think of a different resource? And so our parent support specialists are great on really just continuing that follow-up, and making sure they get connected. Now, say we can't get a hold of the family, we do the general 3-call rule. So we'll try to call them a couple times. If we have permission to send a text, we'll text, as well as send an email. If we still can't get a hold of them, we will send a postcard to say, hey, we're still here to help you, but we're not going to actively try to contact you at this time. So do know that's about what our process is if we can't get a hold of them. So just some of the benefits of Help Me Grow. Hopefully we're here to help you save time in finding resources to help support families, whether you refer them directly to us or you call us looking for resources to refer to a family to. Hopefully we can help you with that. Easy access to screening tools for all families across the state, our great parent support specialists and the care coordination they provide. We do have networking events that we do in different parts of the state. We have been doing those virtually this last year. And those are recorded and are on our website that you can go on and watch, or sorry, our YouTube channel that you can go on and watch those. And that they are basically presentations from other organizations of what their resource actually provides. And then we would network after to make sure that we're all working together. So we look forward to getting back to those in person, hopefully here soon. In the meantime, we've also decided, because people like those so much, is we are piloting, we only have one on our YouTube channel so far, recorded resource meetings. We're trying to keep those no more than 15 to 20 minutes, where we record someone giving a presentation on their resource. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you would actually find one on there right now about WIC. That was the first one that we recorded. If you're not familiar with women, infants, and children, and you know someone that has food insecurities and needs access to more support with food, and they have children under 5 or mom is pregnant, they're a fantastic resource through every health department across the state, that they can get additional help and support with food and nutrition. So that's an example of one on there. But really, we're just here to help empower the family and the communities. So I want you to think, we just have about 8 more minutes left, on what ways you could use Help Me Grow. And I want you to think outside the box just a little bit. It doesn't have to be, hey, just refer, or just call them with questions about resources. Maybe it could be something else. For example, I think I mentioned I do outreach in Salt Lake County. I am working with one of the school districts there to help put together family nights. And I will be there offering screenings for families to do, as well as some activities. We have other school districts that include Help Me Grow on their enrollment form when they enroll at Help Me Grow, to say, hey, would you be interested in being contacted by this program to get more information about early childhood before you even start preschool next year. Things like that are conversations that we are happy to have with anyone that is open and wanting to have conversations about that. So I'll give my contact information here in a moment, and I will send that follow-up email, so you'll have my contact information. It'll either be myself, or we have community liaisons in other parts of the state that can work more closely with you in whatever area of the state you're in, and we could talk about how could we partner together in really supporting families. So I want to open it up just for a minute, see if anyone has any questions for me. I hope that all made sense and it was enough detail. But like I said, you're welcome to contact me later. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to have conversations about resources. This is something I have with other people on a regular basis. I love talking about resources because I feel like there's so many wonderful ones out there that it's so hard to get the word out about what's available, especially in early childhood, because child's not already in the school to automatically have the school help. with this. And so getting into the families earlier and younger is something that we sometimes in early childhood programs need us help with on a regular basis. So if you're working with families that have children in your preschool that need help, that's great. Maybe they have younger children at home that you might even suggest to them to go on and do a screening. Maybe the mom is pregnant and you want to check in with her and say, hey, Help Me Grow is a great resource. In the follow-up email, I'll include a link that if you want to sign up to receive any of our flyers, we could definitely mail you some flyers to each of your programs as well. Just want to encourage you, here's our phone number. You can go to our website. We have a few minutes left that I'll pull that up and also show you a few information and things on our website. If you like early childhood information and you want to follow us on social media, I mentioned our YouTube channel, but we also have a great social media presence where we have someone that manages that. And we try to share a lot of milestones, parenting tips, articles, things like that on our Instagram and Facebook to try to get information out. We do have a blog with articles as well. Really just trying to share as much information with families as we can. And then here's my contact information. I'm going to unshare my screen for just one moment and get our website pulled up so I can share that. And while I'm doing that, I am going to put just one more time in the chat the form if you didn't have a chance to fill out my form. Sorry, I know you do have two that you have to fill out for this one since I'm asking for one as well. And just put in your contact information if you want the follow-up email, and then you have the option to receive our monthly newsletter with information as well. So I'm going to pull up our website here. So our website is just helpmegrowutah.org. This is what you're going to see right here. I do know that United Way is in the works of updating all of our websites. So this could potentially change. Information is not necessarily going to change. It will also be on here, but the layout may change. I just want to warn you of that in the next 4 to 6 months. I'm not exactly sure the timeline, but you can pretty much access everything right here on the main page. I want to mention too, like our channel or our social media is down here, so you can find our YouTube channel if you want to go on and look at any of those resource meetings. That's a great way to access it. If you want to just have the parents doing a screening at some point, you can have them do it directly from our website right here under your developing child, and just click on Developmental Screenings. You can share this video if you want. This is an example of a mom doing a screening. It is with a little bit younger child. I think she was 18 months, if I remember correctly. But it shows like a mom kind of talking through herself doing a screening and why she thought it was important. Both the general developmental screening and the social emotional screenings available on here. It is also available in Spanish. So you can click on Spanish and it will switch it to Spanish for you to access in Spanish as well. I also want to mention that if you're looking for resources, something new on our website, that if you happen to know any kinks or errors in it, please let us know. It is still a work in progress. But if you go to our website under In Your Community, we do have a Connect to Resources page that you can go in. I currently have it under Washington County, that you can select that. You can change it to your location. You can put it to your county, your zip code, and you can click on any of these little areas to say, oh, I do have questions about parenting. So say we go to parenting. And there's all these things. It says technically about how many miles it is from you. So say, Kelly had mentioned the Family Support Center. There is a great Family Support Center in Washington County. You open that up and you can see their address, their phone number, their website, a general description, and then all their primary services that they offer. So say you wanted to know more about their parenting skills classes, you could click on that and there's further information as far as like what all of that entails. So there is more in-depth information on there that you can look at. I wanted to mention too, I go right back to that. You can favorite it. If you do have to be logged in. I think they took that feature away actually, sorry. Do not favorite it because I don't know if it will do anything because you can't log in right now. But you can share it as a text and you can share it as an email. Email, I think, shares just a little bit more information, but you can, if all they have is a text and they just need like the website or something, you can send it directly from here. So that is our information about Help Me Grow. Just want to throw out again, we're happy to have further conversations. If you want to have conversations of how we can partner, if you have questions about resources, We really just want to be a help and support to you and all the work that you do. So thank you for taking the time to visit today.
Thank you so much, Jody. That was such great information. I just wanted to remind everybody that the sign-in is in the chat box. Is that a word? Yes, it is a word. And you have an hour lunch, and then